Welcome to the Little Press YouTube channel with me, Mtaka. Today I am joined by the creative brains behind Shaka iLembe, which just wrapped up its second season. And as the fans and the viewers already know, season 3 is already in the making. We are joined by Desiree Markgraaff and Nhlanhla Mtaka. Hello, it's Shaka iLembe. How are you guys doing?
We are good. We are great.
People just came and said, tell me about like to have some land.
Good. Well, I think firstly, just the reception of season 2 has been amazing. I think, this is a project that is so big and has so many people inputting in it. And we always say amongst ourselves, this isn't our project. This is a project for the whole of South Africa. And really, sometimes it feels like we've got that many people collaborating on the project. And on season 2, it definitely felt like that. Over the course of that season, I think we employed close to 20,000 people. Of course, some people are just there for a day, but still. Yeah. So coming to the end of it and watching that last episode on TV and watching it, with cell phones next to you, you're filled with so many emotions. It's so you're sad to say goodbye to all these people that you've spent time with. It was so exciting. Of course, great characters. I mean, yes. The death of Dingaswayo, the end, the demise of the Ndwandwe. They're just amazing actors, amazing characters. And so partly you're sad, and on the other hand, so excited because people are really engaging with it. And so, mixed feelings at the end of season 2. And then just really excited and grateful to be starting the journey of season 3, which, as you said, is so different.
And for me, I think we have achieved what we wanted to achieve. Get South Africans, young and old, talking about their heritage. It's Heritage Month now. Yes. So people are discussing their own histories because most people talk to me and email me saying, can you put my surname and all of that? So it says to us, this project has succeeded in creating a sustainable dialogue about family history, community history, and a country's history. We wanted to do exactly that. And did you want people to agree with us? No. We wanted them to engage, agree and disagree, because we've chosen a particular platform to tell a story. Others will choose books. Others will choose a theater. We've chosen a TV production.
There have been a few, let's call them incidents of dissatisfaction with some royal families. I know that there was a complaint just last month. How much patience does one need to have to repeatedly keep saying, it is not a documentary. This is some of the things have been changed for entertainment purposes. How much patience does that need?
I think firstly, we're extremely respectful to everybody's opinion around this history. It is a huge and epic history. And like you and I were talking about earlier, there are so many versions of this history that abound. And this is pre-colonial history. Nothing is written. So, you've got oral tellings of the story, of course, that sit very deep within families that are passed down. You've then got archive material that you can find. So in the process of this series, we did much research across the board. And, you'll find 3 or 4 totally differing stories about the same event. And we're storytellers. Yeah. And so our choices were always, let's try and inform ourselves as well as possible about the different stories and the different versions of a story. And then try and choose the one that best articulates and best works within the series, but at the same time constantly being underpinned by being respectful to the character that we are portraying.
Firstly, let me say what you didn't say. They compare us with other series and say you can't speak isiZulu or he's not a Zulu. Firstly, the other series was in English. So it's not even fair it started there. It was totally in English. but also T-base from KwaZulu-Natal and Bangin, to be exact.
Yes.
So the issue of that is not, but for us, that was not even an issue. I'll allow Desiree to talk about the other process. But I'm telling you, for me, who one can claim that I was close to the history, I think he represented King Shaka well, and represented that period very well.
Look, we think that Lemogang is a fantastic actor and that he has really embodied this character in every possible way. Remember that he had a very complicated journey in this narrative because we start him off as a young boy, 17 years old, and we take him all the way through. Now in season 3, obviously it'll go all the way through to the end of his life. But in this journey, he has had to go from being a relatively naive young teenage boy filled with all the agony and heartache of feeling rejection from your father, to growing into becoming a warrior, to growing into becoming a man, to growing into becoming a leader. And these are significant, big, epic performances that Lemogang had to find. And his preparation and his journey, he's been so dedicated to this role. He in the first season, Lemogang had to starve himself for 3-4 months to slim down so that he could look and feel like a teenage boy. And if you look at those early scenes of Lemogang, he really feels like this gangly teenager in the awkwardness, those scenes with Pakatwaya where he's getting thumped. And, that these are all things that formed his character. And if you look at Lemo at the end of season 2, this powerful, strong, sure-footed king, I have to say that I think his processes were fantastic. And of course, Henry Cele was a wonderful Shaka. And I think that Lemogang Tsipa is a wonderful Shaka for this day and era. And I think a new generation will look at him as their Shaka. And, in 20 years, 30 years' time, somebody's going to make another one and he'll represent a new generation. I think the other thing also just to say is that we really, in the creation of this character, wanted to speak about a Shaka that was more than just the big, strong leader, brawn and muscle. It's our imagination that Shaka was an incredibly smart, charismatic, complicated person. And we think that Lemo really captures all of those layers.
In the context of Liana or Shaka's friends, not only Liana, even his friends, the idea was to create Shaka as a human being.
Yes.
Who will interact with people, who will make mistakes. Yes. We have all of us, we have girlfriends, boyfriends, we make mistakes, we make wrong decisions, and we correct ourselves. We had people, we are saying Shaka was not a saint. He had his own faults, in some instances, his weaknesses. So hence I'm saying, as long as people will understand that in some choices, it was us portraying a human being, not a monster, not only one-dimensional character.
And I think also when you talk about great leaders in history, people don't often talk about their romantic life unless there's somebody very significant.
Like Helen of Troy.
Yeah. And so, clearly there were relationships with Shaka. There is allusions to that there were children that, may or may not have existed. So one has to assume that there were relationships that Shaka had. And so we were keen to explore that. And I thought that the response to the Liana character was beautiful. I think people really enjoyed the complexity of it. And also it helped us tell the narrative of, because we've spoken a lot about it, why did Shaka choose to stay single? In the same way as why did Mkabayi choose to stay? They chose, their marriage was to their kingdom. Their marriage was to building something bigger. Even if you think of Nelson Mandela when he came out of prison, his first priority was to his country. And I think when you're so focused on building something, that you have to make sacrifices.
Is there anything that you can tell us about what viewers can look forward to in terms of season 3?
Whew. Season 3 is so jam-packed because there is a lot of drama going on in season 3.
There's always been drama.
New drama, new characters. And, we do tackle the early stages of colonialism that was starting to press down. And from season 1, we've been alluding to the White Walkers, you know, up there in Delagoa Bay, down in the Cape. And of course, they were coming closer and closer. And so it was really important for us in season 1 and 2 to start early on, like Mtaka said, to build the politics and the kingdoms that existed pre-colonial history. And now to say, okay, this time, instead of like in the old Shaka from 30 years ago, where the lens was from the colonials in, this time it is from the Zulus out. Who are these people that are coming into our world? How do we feel about them? What do they want? What do we want from them? And so it's a very exciting final season.